This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.
Welcome to episode 60 of Paranormal Dads. I'm your co-host, Eddie.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Andy.
Join us as we go in search of the world's monsters, myths, and mysteries right here on Paranormal Dads. All right, guys, here we are back again in the old cryptid den at Andy's house.
And a fine cryptid den it is.
What's the over-under on Sasquatches in one room? Because right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
You've got a
7.
lot of them.
I've lost count.
I don't want to go out on a limb here, but I'm going to, where I say this might be the most Sasquatches in anybody's room in the entire prairie/Midwest.
And there's a really big one out back, too.
Oh, yeah, I do. I have a 7-foot silhouette in my backyard
That's
of,
awesome.
of the big fella. Yeah. You guys know what I tried to do earlier? I was mowing my yard. I let the grass get way too high.
Well done.
Thank you. I pride myself on it.
Exactly. You just watch it grow. That's right.
I'm just personally devaluing the housing market on
The
the
whole
street.
neighborhood's going down. Andy's fault.
Well, my grass was so long when I started to mow it, and I was kind of sort of going in a circular pattern. I was like, I'm gonna carve a jack-o'-lantern into my yard.
There you go.
And I almost pulled it off, but I think next time I gotta tweak it a little bit, make it just right. Maybe dye the grass orange. Who knows?
Ooh.
You know,
You gotta go out and get one of those grass rollers like they use on the baseball fields. And,
bingo.
yeah.
Get a drone and fly it up above your, take pictures of your lawn.
You know, I've given up even trying to be normal. My neighbors know. You know, I walk outside in alien T-shirts every day. They know something's not right. They're like, oh, that guy has a screw loose. He has a pumpkin in his grass.
Exactly. You're outside looking out for UFOs. Like, this guy's insane.
As I always say, normal people are boring. So there you go.
I was outside looking for the space station flew over Omaha the other night. And I might have seen it. I'm not even sure if I saw it or not. I saw something that looked like it, but I thought I might have heard like an airplane engine. But it was up there. It was way up there.
You know,
But it just kind of looked like a fast-moving star.
This is a great place to put the ad for the app Skyview, Pat. You can use the Skyview app.
Oh, I've got that one.
Point that up into the sky, and you can track when they.
I'm not sure mine covered the space station though.
I think this one does.
Oh,
because
okay.
it has
I'll have to look at that.
it has like space junk, dude. Check this out. Like down here, boop. It has like a piece of a spaceship.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we were down in Missouri a couple weeks ago visiting some friends, and they're living on an acreage down there, and so it's kind of outside of St. Louis and very open, starry skies, kind of a smaller town, and we had that app out, and we're checking out all the constellations, and it was very cool.
It's so fun. Right now, I think up in the sky. Right now, we're recording this October. What's today? 6th,
7th.
7th. Oh man, 2 days after my birthday. Oh, don't
Happy
steal my
birthday.
identity. We're gonna see.
I was just gonna say, yeah, happy birthday to Eddie, by the way. It's Eddie's birthday episode. He's aging like a fine wine. That
Something
guy.
like- ugh,
Tell you
something
what,
like that. You know.
the wisdom just spills from him.
Is it wisdom?
I can see it leaking out of your ear.
Oh,
right
there goes some wisdom.
Pours forth into a goblet.
Drinking goblets. I drink goblets out of skulls.
Nice.
I can't even talk. I drink wine out of skulls. With the Skyview app, I think right now in the skies of Omaha, or maybe wherever else, you can see Venus and Saturn like super bright. They're the
Right.
first two things to pop out at night. It's very fun to look at and just kind of feel tiny as
Yeah.
you stare up into the night sky. Hey, speaking of as we stare up into the night sky, let's move on to recent sightings. Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm up to bat on this one, and I have a doozy that is actually recent. So, yeah, hold on to your socks on this one. Okay, so this is as recent as September 20th. I received a text message.
That's like yesterday in our.
We get kind of loose with the definition of recent, but this one, just a couple weeks ago. I'm down here working in my cryptid den at my home office. I get a text message from a friend of the family, Kim, and she says, "Hey, Andy, check this out. I saw this on the Nextdoor app." Most people are familiar with the Nextdoor app. You can, things being sold, crime in the neighborhood, stuff like that. And she sent me a screenshot of what she saw, and the title read, "Huge effing dog may be a werewolf." Now, my friend of the family knows that I've been hooked on this Dogman Encounters radio show. I've listened to 350 plus episodes of this werewolf type creature that is being spotted all over our country.
That's some serious Dogman time right there.
Right.
350 episodes.
I need to get a life. Yeah, no, it is.
What's that in dog years? 350. It's like 3,000 years old.
But the show itself is firsthand eyewitness accounts of people who have seen werewolf type creatures up close and personal. Some of which have been have had their vehicles broken into and been chased down by these things. So, I'm sitting up and I'm reading this article, and I'll read it to all of you. And this was posted by somebody in Omaha, Nebraska. Quote, "Okay, so this is going to sound nuts. I thought about posting this to this page earlier, but I didn't want to because I was like, okay, Gene, let's not be crazy, but maybe I'm not. I was driving to work yesterday morning around 6 or 6:30 a.m., headed south on 60th Street towards Western. A block before Western Street, I had to slam on my brakes because a huge, what almost looked like a massive wolf, ran in front of my car. It was jet black, looked at me, and had red eyes, and seriously looked like the height would be up to my chest. I wrote it off as just a giant German Shepherd type dog and went about my day. A friend just shared with me a video of a friend's door camera of them running out to get their dog late last night, and it captured a scary, snarling sound. They live in Benson. I also had let my dog out before it left, and it's now connecting that he was also acting strange. Tail up, stiff, and I had to go snap at him to come back inside." And she said, "It's a full moon, y'all. Watch your pets. Anyone else see anything or hear anything strange? Anyone have a wolf hybrid dog out there? Was it a werewolf?" And as you can imagine, a whole slew of comments come in. And so I thought, what the heck, so I take a screenshot of this lady's post and I post it to my Facebook business page, and got quite a response on my page too, which I wasn't expecting. I thought, okay, Andy's, people would just say, okay, Andy's being nuts again about this werewolf stuff. No, almost 100 comments came in from people in that vicinity and in other parts of Omaha who have also, on that very day, were reporting that their critters were acting strange.
Yeah.
So, animals they have a sixth sense, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. Before, tornadoes or other weird weather things happen, a lot of times animals will act weird, and kind of give you a hint that something's coming up. Heck, we've seen some weird bird activity happening recently. Speaking of animals.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all over town for a good clip there. In fact, there was a Ring doorbell video that you have to listen for it at some point because there's another dog that's just barking its head off outside. But you can hear a really kind of large animal sounding growl come about in the midst of all that kind of chaos in that same kind of pocket of town.
Yeah, and it was questionable. Was it another dog off in the distance? It didn't seem like it was that lady's dog though, and these are two different instances, by the way. But but there was a growl or snarl. It seemed a little bit out of place in the audio of that clip.
Yeah.
Anyway, after I posted this, after I shared this post on my business page, a whole slew of comments came in from other people. This one lady, Deborah, said, "This is so weird, but a couple weeks ago, one of my neighbors posted on our neighborhood Facebook page that her kids saw what looked like a large black furry animal walking on its hind legs towards the woods away from the houses. I made a joke about it, but now that you say you're coming to Oklahoma, I'm a little freaked out. I live in a small town about 45 minutes south of Oklahoma City. And what that lady's referring to in that post, I actually mentioned that us Paranormal Dads are headed here in a few weeks' time. We're headed down to the border of Oklahoma and Arkansas to do a little investigation in the woods for 4 straight days to see if we can have a dogman sighting of ourselves. And so she's kind of down there in that neck of the woods.
Gonna put me in a sausage necklace. I'm gonna run out into the forest and be like,
I'm going to take my shirt off, and there's your dog man right there.
and Pat's gonna scare all the neighborhood children away. Dog man's here. I'm gonna sing the hits from Oklahoma. Oh, what a beautiful cryptid. Oh, what a beautiful night. Yeah, we're gonna go down there and get a little not squatchy. We're gonna get a little wolfy with
That's right.
some dogman activity.
It's all fun and games till you actually see one.
Right.
But no, that lady got a little freaked out. Yeah, makes you wonder what those people saw. Furry creature walking on 2 legs. You know, I don't know. Another lady chimed in, Michelle. She said, "This is so weird. When I was driving to work on Sunday morning, and I live in that area of the other next door poster, I saw a large black, what I thought was a German Shepherd, walking down Country Club Avenue. 60th and Western isn't far." This was 6:40 a.m. I didn't necessarily get any kind of vibe from it either way. It just seemed super out of place, but the creature was really smart as it stayed on the sidewalk. And I did a little bit of, I looked on a map because that's a different part of Omaha than I live in. 60th and Western is just a couple blocks from the campus of UNO, University of Nebraska at Omaha. And the campus actually pretty much sits right on the border of Elmwood Park. Mm-hmm. Elmwood Park's a big park. It has a golf course. It has a lot of acres. So I'm thinking, the animal was headed in the direction of the park and the campus. That's the only green place it could have been headed to. Whether it was a German Shepherd or a dogman, I don't know. But
There's some spots to hide in too in that park. There's a lot of these like little alcovey things.
Yeah, there's a little creek bed down there, or little pond.
There's a grotto,
areas,
they call it too.
Yeah,
It's like the
grotto.
Elmwood Park Grotto, and it's a little hidden area there. And yeah, I could see that being a place where someone would want to hide.
Well, Elmwood Park is also the site of the big monkey island.
Hey, with the Omaha monkeys.
Back in, what was it, the 30s or 40s?
It was like the late 20s, early 30s, and they're like, I know what we got to do. Put some monkeys into town. Bring tourists here. Make some money.
what episode was that, guys? The monkey fiasco?
It was not too terribly
It was
long,
it was
far
the
back.
episode we
It
had
was-
with cryptids and animals in weird locations. And
Yeah. So if you want a good laugh and you're listening to this after this episode ends, backtrack 5 to 10 episodes. The out of place creatures. I've never laughed so hard as when we were talking about that monkey fiasco.
That was quite a story.
So crazy, and it's true.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking I got a whole slew of comments here I could read. Basically, most of those 90 plus people who chimed in on that post were saying, yes, all my dogs were acting strange that same day. My dogs wouldn't go outside to pee. My cat was being weird. My dog was staring at something in the alley and wouldn't come inside. So on that particular day, that same day that the lady saw that wolf creature going across the road, apparently other people's pets were sensing something was in the air. And the other thing that I want to talk about just briefly is if this dog creature was chest height for that lady and it was on all fours, I mean, we're talking about, if it was an average height lady, we're talking at least 4 feet.
Yeah,
At least 4 feet. And I'm trying to think what dogs are out there that are actually that big. A Irish wolfhound?
That's probably the only one I could think of that would be that tall.
You know, maybe Great Danes would
Great
probably
Danes,
be right up there.
They're giant breeds, and the thing that gets, and this is, we have to talk about Dogman here because the hunt it's an expedition. We're not bringing guns, but the point is, except for these babies, mwah, mwah, Eddie kisses arms.
Eddie was just working out on the elliptical before we
Get
got
my
started.
paranormal sweat on, my paranormal pecs need to get worked out. You talk about Dogman and Wolfman, and people kind of start to laugh a little bit because they're like, "You're talking about a werewolf, are you?" And not really necessarily, but this is one of those cryptid things that's very interesting. The more you kind of investigate, the more you dig, like a dog with a bone. You start finding these really interesting stories that have, I mean, a lot of validity to them. And I mean, we've even had, Cliff Barackman reference something. We probably aren't privy to share all the details about it, but a story that had that same kind of cryptid in it. And so it's very interesting. And it's I'm really excited for this expedition, and hope I come back with all my fingers and toes.
Dude,
Yes.
we're bringing bear mace, a snake bite kit. We're bringing, like you said, pretty much everything but live ammo, which, hopefully we don't regret. But yeah, it's not a hunt, but like I said, it's all fun and games till you actually see a creature that you can't explain.
Yeah.
So what this lady saw, truth be told, there's a better chance than not that it was a giant dog, just a giant domestic dog.
Could be.
But I'm thinking, something that big, if it was a dog, man, something that's 4 feet plus on 4 legs, you're talking about an 8 or 9 foot creature if it does stand up,
Yeah.
So then you got yourself a problem. Then you got yourself a paranormal sized problem.
Exactly.
So anyway, not much more we can do on this sighting other than speculate, but that's the recent sighting right here in our great city of Omaha. So with that, I guess we'll move into pop culture and the paranormal. I think Pat is going to be up for this one, right?
Yep. And it's time to pop.
It's time for pop, culture, and the paranormal.
So about a month ago, there was an event, a sporting event that I was excited about, which is kind of unusual. I wouldn't call myself a sports guy, but I do kind of follow it from the outside. I follow the World Series. I watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
College football, I'm all in.
Sure.
Sweet 16, NCAA basketball, maybe not so much, but I do kind of follow it a little bit.
Badminton World Championship.
Gonna say.
Right.
Yeah.
The
Lawnmower racing.
Olympics, sure.
Yeah. Arm wrestling circuits.
Cricket Final Four.
Ooh.
But this one event that came up, I had to partake when it was on. So ESPN aired a baseball game between the New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
And it was played at the Field of Dreams in Iowa.
Yeah.
And so if you've never seen Field of Dreams, the movie starring Kevin Costner, you really need to do yourself the service and see that movie. Especially if you're a baseball fan, you have to see that movie.
And if you're kind of a paranormal enthusiast, it's got that angle too.
So it's full of baseball, it's full of ghosts.
Yep.
So, the theory, the premise of the movie is this farmer is hearing voices while he's out working in his field, and the voices basically lead him on this journey, which propel him to create a baseball field on his farm.
Yeah.
And in during the story, he has a run-in with several ghosts, and it's a great story. Anyway, so I think it was the 30th anniversary of that movie that Major League Baseball actually built another stadium on the grounds there. I heard they were going to have an actual baseball game at this field, and I was wondering, how are they going to do that?
It's
because
a small field.
it's a small field. It's like a little league field size.
Yeah.
I've actually been out there before, and it's a really cool place. And the farmhouse is still out there.
Well, the guy owns it, right? The guy that lives there decided to keep the field, right?
Yeah,
That was
I think the
idea.
family still owns it,
Yeah.
and the house is still there. And it's still he's been kind of keeping it open as a tourist spot. And in working with Major League Baseball, they actually built a stadium. It's a smaller stadium, probably about the size of a stadium that they would use for like minor league baseball or maybe spring training games down in Florida or Arizona. But they had this game on ESPN, and it was very well done because they, of course, both the teams were dressed in period clothing, kind of like the old timey baseball outfits back when the whole premise of the movie was like the Chicago White Sox when they quote unquote they were betting on the World Series, or they stole the World Series, or they threw the World Series, something like that. See, this is where my sports gets a little foggy.
Breakdown.
But so the baseball players were dressed up in the old time uniforms. Even the ESPN announcers were wearing old time like sports reporter garb. Cool. So they're wearing paperboy hats, kind of like Andy's got on right now.
Yeah.
And out in the outfield, there was a manual scoreboard. They had kids standing out there dressed up in, kind of period clothing, and they're putting the score up as it goes. And it was a very cool game. So in seeing that game, I got to thinking about, sports and the paranormal. And I thought, I wonder, how there's got to be some connection there between some teams and the paranormal. So what I came up with, it was a short list, but it's still kind of a cool list of professional sport teams with paranormal names.
Oh yeah.
And so
That's awesome.
I thought we'd go to
Nice.
this. So can you guys think of any right off the bat?
Ooh. Well, I mean, you have the New Jersey Devils, the hockey team,
Very good.
Look at you.
and
go.
that kind of I think it came from the
Yeah, the Jersey Devil.
Jersey Devil,
Yeah.
which we've talked about before.
Are we going to count the New York Giants?
Yes, we are. Yes,
Ah.
along with the and what's the baseball? You guys know the baseball one?
Was it on the other end of the spectrum? Is it a tiny creature?
No.
Let me think. Oh, the Angels.
Yeah, that's actually
supernatural, metaphysical.
yeah. There's the Los Angeles Angels, I think is what they're going. Yeah, Major League Baseball. Are they? They're in Los Angeles now.
Well, they bounced it around because it
They
used to be
Anaheim. Right?
Anaheim, and then
Okay.
it was. But yeah, back in the day, I thought it was
Yeah.
L.A.
This is saying L.A. Angels, so shows you what I know.
So
Anyway.
what was the other one? That
So there's the New York Giants. The San Francisco Giants is the baseball team.
Ooh, I know a college one. There's the Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah,
They used to have a good basketball team. Don't know if they still do.
yeah. That one's not on the list, but that's a good one. Yeah.
Bonus extra credit.
Bonus extra credit for Andy.
Isn't there a Bigfoot one somewhere? I don't.
If there's not, there should be.
There's the Eugene Emeralds. They're a minor league baseball team, and their mascot is Bigfoot. So they're right up there in the Pacific Northwest. I actually have a hat.
You have it.
And Bigfoot is carrying a pine tree over his shoulder. It's very,
Sandy wants one.
very
Look
cool.
at his face.
You know what I want is they added a new hockey team to the NHL, and it's the Seattle Kraken.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was about to get T-shirts for all of us, man.
They're on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. The NHL. So we talked about the Los Angeles Angels, the Orlando Magic
I was going to say the Magic.
Oh yeah.
in the NBA. Along with that, the Washington Wizards.
Magic.
They're also in the NBA.
I believe they had to change their name. Gosh, a couple decades ago. They used to be the Washington Bullets, and it was kind of like a Washington Redskins kind of
Right.
situation where it's like too
It was
dangerous.
no longer
or
PC.
No longer PC. So I think that's when they became the Wizards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I already mentioned this one. Tennessee Titans.
Oh.
The NFL football team. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the Giants. So,
Yep.
so I mean, it's a short list, but I thought it was kind of fun.
You know, it makes you wonder why they don't use more of the paranormal. You know, you could have like, the what's the town? The Salem like witches.
yeah,
right?
Salem
Like,
witches.
There's a noose as their logo.
Oh no!
Then we get back to PC.
It's like a fire. It's like a bonfire.
Do the Houston Hobgoblins, the why isn't there more Bigfoot ones, especially with how popular it is now?
Yeah, I know. I was very excited when I found this baseball team with Bigfoot on their hat. It's like, okay, I'm going to sit down, order one of those right now, and I did.
I know the Philadelphia Flyers have Gritty as their mascot, and Gritty, if you don't know, have you seen it? You should Google this, everyone. Gritty, and it looks like a cross between like Grimace from McDonald's and Bigfoot. Like it's insane looking, and it like runs around knocking stuff over and
Stuff in nightmares, huh?
yes, kind of nightmare fuel.
How about the Roswell aliens? That'd be a good one.
See, Pat.
Roswell needs to get a
Pat
team.
needs to brand up some teams here.
That'd be fun. I bet you if you went through the ranks of the minor league, especially minor league
Minor
baseball,
leagues.
they kind of play to that sort of thing. You know, it's a way of bringing people in, getting people excited about, taking ownership in their team. You give them a fun mascot, and they're all for it.
It is funny because like, you go for like all these basketball teams, like you were saying, like the Bulls and the Nets. And all
The
these things.
Bulls.
And the Bulls, and then you have like the Magic, the Orlando. We're mad. It's Magic. It's just Magic. There's no like it's like you throw sparkles in the air and
They don't even shoot the ball; it just floats into the hoop, just like
it teleports.
Space Jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a smart. I mean, I bet you the minor league teams have more fun. I hate to say fun with the names, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. They can be a little looser, you know. The major league teams have an image they have to protect and a brand they have to sell.
Well, exactly.
You know,
couldn't be like like the Roswell.
The minor league teams have guys like
abduct you and do an autopsy. Woo! Like, oh no, that's not good.
the minor league staff is probably a little looser, and you know they're willing to take a few more risks, you know, on their branding.
You know, it would be kind of fun to see them have fun with it. You know, just completely just dive full force into it. I mean, the mascots themselves, I know, have a completely insane time. You know, they're over the top. That's the whole point behind being a mascot. Like the people in the suits.
Oh yeah.
You know, driving golf carts and knocking people over. But it would be fun. God, what would a Loch Ness one be? What sport would that be? Like water polo?
Oh, soccer maybe.
Well, there you go.
But you know what though? I really don't think it's too far-fetched that in the next 10 to 15 years, if there's expansion teams in any of the major sports, I would not surprise me if there's another paranormal one.
Yeah.
Just because it's hot. It's trending more than it's ever
Oh
been,
yeah,
especially
you turn on
Bigfoot.
TV every night. There's a ghost show or a cryptid show, or
Yeah.
it's everywhere.
You're not joking.
You know, Philadelphia Phantoms, you could make these up all day long.
I mean, you got great taglines. Get possessed. You know, like, oh, season tickets. I don't even remember. What's happening?
But that was a good one, Pat.
All right.
And now it's time for the main mystery.
We're going to talk about a thing called the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind.
Not 2 or 3 or 4, Eddie?
No, I'm going to go down the list here, but I'm just letting right out of the gate, just coming charging out.
I've recently heard this term.
Yes. So, getting into it, we've maybe heard of the famous film Close Encounters of the Third Kind, starring the one and only Richard Dreyfuss as a really high-strung dad in the 70s. He's yelling at everybody. Have you seen that movie recently?
Turkey.
He's yelling at everybody.
Yeah.
He's got a sheen of sweat on his forehead all the time in that movie. I'm like, is everybody hot in 1978? They're just like,
It was pretty warm in 78. I remember that.
yeah, it must have been just a heat wave, wasn't it? So that was Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So just as a primer for everyone, we're going to go down the list because it's like, listen, we hear these terms. What does it even mean? You paranormal nerds, dads, tell us these things. So we'll go down the list here.
Okay.
Close Encounters of the First Kind. Very simple. You done seen a UFO. That's what that is. I seen something in the sky.
I seen it. It was up there,
I didn't know what it was.
and then it went away.
That's a close encounter of the first kind.
Okay.
You can easily say that. You can be like, I saw a thing up in the sky, didn't know what it was. You welcome to the Close Encounter Club, level 1.
Okay.
Close encounter of the second kind, boop, 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 number 2. You see a UFO in the sky, and there is some evidence of that UFO. It smashed into a tree. It knocked over a branch. It burnt some grass. It scared some animals. There was something that had reacted to that UFO.
Radiation detected.
Exactly. There was some recordable or observable thing other than you just saying, I done seen it. There you go. That's the second kind. The third kind, after the super famous movie starring a sweaty Richard Dreyfuss, who's yelling at children all the time. All the time, dude. He's screaming at children. I'm like, this is not so much a movie about a man who sees aliens. It's about a dad who really hates his kids.
One of my favorite lines in that movie, I think his kid's name was, I'll say it's Toby. I think it was Toby.
Sure.
Toby, you're close to death.
There you go. Yeah, because I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
That was the implication. Not like, Toby, I love you so much. Get away from the edge of that cliff.
No. He was like, I'm going to take you.
I'm gonna
I brought you into this world. I'm going to take you out.
I'll make a new one just like you.
They show the movie to Child Protective Services training orientation sessions. Like, if you see a parent acting like this, take their kids away.
Yeah.
It is a masterclass in like how are parents different now? Watch this one. Parents that raised their kids in the 70s is like, can I hit my child? No, that's frowned upon. Can I shake my child? Sure, up to a certain age. Yeah. Start shaking him at like age 7. Just shake him.
Richard Dreyfuss is like, I'm going to put you on this UFO and you're going to go away for a long time.
I tell you,
Unless
man.
you shape up, mister.
Snapping at children the whole time. But Close Encounter of the Third Kind is you see a UFO. There's some interaction. There's some recording stuff. You can record some stuff. And you see the alien. You see him. He's right there.
Right in the flesh.
You glimpse one.
Or scales. Or whatever species you're dealing
Or
with.
beautiful, long, flowing blonde hair. If we're talking those Nordics.
Oh, the Nordics.
Oh,
God bless them.
God bless those beautiful Nordics. Now we're getting over 3. What happens? What are we doing? Close Encounters of the Fourth.
Are we into probing territory, Eddie?
We're into probing territory. We're going to
dang
Probe Town.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
I know. We're all getting up there in age. We have to go to the doctor. So you see the UFO, you see the alien. It's recordable or whatever. There's a thing left behind of this happening, and you're on board this ship. That you got taken on board somehow. You're on the ship. Now, frankly, this movie should have been called Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. Spoiler, because he goes on the ship
Right.
at the very end.
Yeah. There were actually 2 versions of that movie, too. Well, no. One, I think the first version, the one you saw in theaters, you did see the people walk onto the ship.
Okay.
And then they redid it. I don't know if it's just for video or if they re-released the film, but then you actually saw the inside of the ship once they went in. So,
Eddie's allergic to aliens.
I got done seeing it.
You could have called that the Fourth Kind because they did walk onto the ship.
Yeah, they got on the ship. And not only that, but the ship also deposited people that they had
Right.
abducted since the
Flight
30s.
Flight 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pilots.
And they're like, yeah, I'm sorry, we time travel with these guys, but we don't know how to put them back. So here's them.
Here, just take these guys.
Everybody you love is dead or really, really old now. And now we're going to get into the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. What could this possibly be? They turned you into
we've
it.
already got evidence. They burned our yard. We saw it. We got probed. Like, what else, Eddie?
What could there possibly be? This is now the metaphysical, psychic, mental connection to a UFO / extraterrestrial intelligence. Mm-hmm. So the idea being, and this is actually a really interesting, not even theory, just people practicing this, proving this works. And the idea is to get more and more people trying this out. Why not? The idea being that these entities are so advanced. We're talking hundreds of thousands, if not even millions of years ahead of us in their, and not even in their technology, even in unto their enlightenment. They're just more woke. How woke could you possibly be? They're like mega woke, and we're like teensy woke.
We are infants.
But that's the idea, is that they have an understanding of the universe and their place in it and the complexity of all this on a level that, you know, we're kind of just maybe getting into. And so the idea being that mental communication, telepathy, however you want to call it, is possible with these creatures and these entities, these intelligences. Mm-hmm. And so we have a lot of cases in history where people have said, I felt like I was being communicated with by another intelligence. Hecka genius Nikolai Tesla, that's one of his big things, was like, he's like, these aren't my ideas. These are ideas that are coming to me from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. He literally like said that. And a lot of people who will talk about the muse and these feelings of like ideas. And not saying these ideas aren't our own, but certainly I think on some level we're being kind of tuned into and we're receiving intelligence and maybe even wisdom on another level. So the idea behind CE5, and it was pioneered by a man named Dr. Adam Greer. And he's a doctor, but he's a doctor of medicine. He's an MD. This guy was like a trauma physician. He was like spent years, he said, fixing bullet wounds and stab wounds in an ER. And he had enough personal experiences with extraterrestrials, and actually had a near death experience that pushed him to kind of investigate this ability to communicate with extraterrestrials. And his whole angle, and there's a great documentary on Netflix right now. It's called CE5, isn't it?
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it,
not Netflix, sorry, Amazon.
Yeah, it is on. Yeah, you're right. It's top notch. It's so well done. And I watched it, and you even if you go into it a little bit, which I didn't, I'm obviously open-minded, but even if you're a little skeptical going into it, it makes a lot of really sound points. And the fact that he's so down to earth and so well spoken adds to it, I think.
Yeah. Oh, viciously intelligent man,
Yeah.
very well spoken, and has had his experiences and is very adamant and passionate about what he has experienced and what he's seen even. And so his whole point is these intelligences can communicate to us and we can communicate back to them. We just have to kind of train our minds to be able to do so. And a lot of that is classic meditation, quieting your mind, putting yourself in a position physically where you can be exposed to seeing UFOs. Mm-hmm. And the idea being in this documentary, it showcases it quite a bit. There's people who've gone on social media who've tried this and it has worked. And a lot of people who are actually kind of famous, notably Demi Lovato and a few other celebrities, have gone off and tried this technique, and it has actually worked for them. And they've captured it on video and have shared it to their social medias, where you get in a comfy chair, lawn chair of some sort. You take it out into outside to an open area, preferably away from the city as much as you can possibly get, and you essentially meditate. You get a group going of people who are like-minded. You don't want anybody in there who's kind of like, whatever, I'll do it, you stupids. You want to be of like mind. That's the whole idea. And that you just kind of sit there in silence and kind of meditate and kind of just open yourself up to this. And the idea being that as you communicate mentally out there, just casting your thoughts out, you will get a response. And there's people who've actually videoed and photographed responses they've gotten where there's been legitimate UFOs that appear and hover and show up unto physical and even energy entities that manifest in front of these people, and they are captured on camera. And you can see shape and form to these entities. And granted, they kind of appear almost phased in and out, but there is a definite shape to these things. So that is a form. There is a being right there showing itself to them.
You talk about shattering the reality of the world we think we live in. Because it's bordering on, we were just making jokes about magic, but
magic.
But it does border on magic. We can call in beings from another planet or another dimension, another reality, and they can appear in front of us with nothing more than our thoughts and intentions calling them in.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
It is.
For a lot of people, there's no reference, there's no place in their brain that can make sense of that.
Well, you think about we go the other side. We go the technological side, right? So you get into things like this guy, Lou Elizondo, and all of these UFO people who are like, these things could be a threat. They're a threat to our national security. They're flying over U.S. airspace with impunity, and they can turn off our... And it's like the notion that something that advanced would be a threat. It's literally like saying we're a threat as we step over an anthill on our walk that day to go clear our head on something. Not saying we're insignificant, but just saying these beings are so far advanced, this notion of threat. And one of the things I found interesting about CE5 over this was that these ships were appearing almost with the Lou Elizondo and those videos that we've all seen at this point with the Go Quickly, I think it's the one of them, and then what other one they call it?
Tic Tac.
The Tic Tac video. Mm-hmm. That one of those ships in the video we saw, there was one, but there was another video in the back saying there's a whole fleet of them. There was 14 of these things, and they all rendezvoused at the same geographical, like northern easting latitude longitude point that those F-14s were supposed to meet at. Like they knew where those planes were supposed to go. Like that was their rendezvous point, and all these UAV or UFOs just show up there. And to me, that's like, because they're reading your mind. They can read your mind. These are psychic beings. They can essentially read your thoughts in a way. And I know that sounds kind of, magic, but it's true. And so anyway.
There's a group in Thailand that they feature on Expedition X. And they practice meditation. They have their own, almost like a compound. They're almost, I think some of the authorities in Thailand almost consider them a cult.
Yeah.
But they get together and they meditate, and they have brought in UFO encounters, UFOs, like you said, hovering overhead. And they've also received messages, they claim. One particular person received a message about a terrible typhoon, I think it was, or not a typhoon. It was a tidal wave.
Yep.
And like it was the very next day was the one that big one that hit Japan.
I remember seeing this on the preview
So
for that
he
episode.
like predicted it. And,
They were able to avoid getting hurt
and-
because they got to high ground.
And the next day it was like the one that hit Japan. So yeah, it was kind of interesting to see these people just kind of in their zone and opening themselves up to the universe, as it were.
Yeah. And that kind of comes into some of the things that we've seen about these philosophies behind contacting extraterrestrials, is that it's going to become a spiritual thing too. It's going to tap into what seems to be another way of living or another dimension. In fact, that's been theorized that these might be interdimensional beings, that these beings have figured out a way to come between dimensions and go like, hey, there's more than one reality around you. So the idea behind CE5 is that, and we've kind of all talked about it, and it's something that we all are planning on doing. I think, Andy, you've taken a stab at it, haven't you?
I have not personally, but I know people who have and have had success with it. But, when we're out on the border of Oklahoma and Arkansas on our Dogman expedition, if there's nothing happening on the Dogman front, we might as well try the CE5, because all four of us that are going to be there, we're meeting up with our good buddy Aaron. But if there's nothing going on the cryptid front, we might as well give it a shot. The funny thing is, those are two completely different mindsets and two completely different frequencies. You talk about a scary cryptid like Dogman. It's a very heavy vibration, very scary, very earth-based phenomenon. And you shift to these, enlightened alien beings. It's light. It's more spiritual almost. It's more, it's less daunting. So it'd kind of be like a breath of fresh air compared to what we're going there for.
Yeah.
So I'm game to try it if you guys are.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. There's an app. There's an app for that.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that. It is created by Dr. Stephen Greer. Full like disclosure, it costs money, and he said because they are a completely self-funded project, and his whole point behind it is, his thought is, if we're going to truly have disclosure, if we're going to contact extraterrestrials, this is how it's going to happen. It's not going to happen through capturing them on more video. It's not going to happen with them landing on the White House front lawn. He goes, they're going to contact us the way that they want to contact us, and it's going to be like what we said with the encounter outside that school. They're going to do things like that. They're going to try to reach people in ways that are not ways that our military would necessarily like understand or respect. It's going to be very much more on a different vibration, like you're saying, Andy.
Yeah. What Eddie referenced with the school, for anybody listening, it was in South Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
South Africa.
Zimbabwe too. It was in two places.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of in the region. There were a number of sightings throughout that region in that time frame.
It was in the 80s or 90s, maybe?
94.
94, and a craft landed near a schoolyard. All the kids ran over. One of the kids jumped the fence, went up and touched the craft. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's going to happen on their terms whenever this You know, because I mean, can you even fathom, guys, like how far human technology has come in just 125 years, let's say, since roughly 1900?
Yeah.
I mean, we're living, I mean, you show today's technology to people from 1900s, they would think our cell phones are magic, and they kind of are.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, scale that up by a civilization who's 1 million years more advanced. We couldn't even comprehend what they would have for technology. It's beyond anything we can literally imagine.
Yeah, when you explain to someone, tried to explain to, like, you know, someone even from cowboy days how Wi-Fi works. It's like, so you're describing magic. Like, no, listen, waves go through the air that you can't see.
Let me touch it there. Where's it at?
I can't taste it or see it. It's not real. And the thing about it is, and someone even, I think it might have been Dr. Stephen Greer, I might be stealing this from him. It's like, our technology right now is very much on a physical, electrical level. Like, it's where we're at. And he's like, their technology, air quotes, is on a psychic, spiritual level. And it's hard for us to wrap our head around. It's like, how can technology be spiritual? But that's the level at which they've managed to kind of cross over into that next threshold. Is like, we have, I mean, this is a little teaser to what happens in the next episode that I'm going to drop, but there are theories that some of these UFOs might even be living beings themselves. And we'll put that in your brain for later to think about. But the idea being, it's much more weird and complicated. Not complicated, but much more insane than what we could really wrap our head around.
Yeah.
So
Mind blown.
CE5. Look the documentary up on Amazon. And the app is on the App Store for your Android and Apple devices for you to start looking out there and doing your own CE5 parties. I would say if you do start doing those, take pictures of what you're doing and put it up on the Paranormal Dads Facebook page. We'd love to see them.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right, you guys got anything else?
Well, that's it for this main mystery for sure.
All right. Well, be sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Or not. It's coming soon to YouTube.
Coming
once
back
again.
to YouTube, yeah.
We are going to be reopening our YouTube site very soon. Facebook, Twitter, Instagrams, all that fun stuff.
Look for us at Paranormal Dads. Also, we have mentioned this on our Facebook and Instagram pages, and I'll put it out there with my voice. We've talked about it. We've decided let's do it. We live in the Omaha area, and we decided we would be interested and be excited to do a ghost hunt at any of your residences or businesses. We have to kind of talk to you and get a feel for you first. I'm not just running in there with guns a-blazing. But the point is, if you are experiencing some sort of paranormal activity and you would like the Paranormal Dads to check it out, give us a call. Get a hold of us on our any one of our social medias or paranormaldads@gmail.com, and we can get that dialogue started about perhaps trying to investigate your ghosts.
Who you gonna call?
Paranormal Dad.
Oh gosh, this is fun. This is just fun. I love this. It's good for the soul. It's good for the mind. Getting together with you guys and talking about weird stuff.
And we hope you guys enjoy listening to all our kooky comedy and the fun we have.
We appreciate everybody listening, and we appreciate you reaching back to us. And like Andy said, we're going to be, in a very short time, going off and doing some more expeditions. So stay tuned for updates on that and all that fun stuff.
This episode is brought to you by my cat Darwin, who has been staring at us in a creepy fashion the whole episode.
The whole time, just staring me down.
Right into your soul.
Just making me feel like I did something wrong.
What if he is an alien being using his psychic powers to read your thoughts right now?
Telling you what, man, I wouldn't count it out. Also, hey, real quick, if you're interested in some Paranormal Dads merchandising, let us know. T-shirts, hats, stickers, and hoodies. Just give us an email or a text at our social media accounts and let us know what you would like and what size you are. We'll make it happen.
And we've joked about this before, but for some reason, Pat and his silky smooth voice, he has this underground kind of cult following of people who just are in love with his voice. So if you have a garment, a shirt, or what have you that you would like Pat to sign, go ahead and stick it in a manila envelope, send it in. Pat will sign it, send it back to you. Maybe he'll even spritz his cologne on it, ladies.
As soon as we came on the air, so to speak, tonight, my voice just kind of, I don't know,
it
took a
switched
dive.
right into sexy gear. It was like,
I call it my Demi Moore voice. It's kind of raspy, and my voice has been fine all day.
You know,
And then-
for a cool fee of $5, Pat will record your voicemail greeting as well from Paranormal Dads. So
Ladies, he's married. Step off.
step off.
In all seriousness, we hope you enjoyed listening today. Oh, also sound effects and music, as always, brought to you by freesound.org. So thanks to those guys. Anything else?
Thank you, everybody. You all have a good night. Tune in next time to Paranormal Dads.
You need some water, buddy?
I'm just, that might be good, actually.
Perhaps you need a whiff of this.
I'm just,
get that ambrosia up in those nostrils. Ooh,
coughing my COVID everywhere.
pumpkins and bourbons.
I am kind of raspy tonight. Skinny skin. Going to bullfights on acid. That's from Caddyshack.
That's funny. That's it. That's perfect.
perfect.
That's buttery gold.
I love it.